This is Crystal Lynn coming to you from Southern California with Crystal Lynn's Astrology. Thank you so much. We are just warming up here a minute and hoping you guys will join us. I'm going to put on live the YouTube. Make sure everybody can hear me. Let's see. There we are. Come on in. Okay, we're going to turn that down. We have to do all of these things. Bear with us. We're getting it all taken care of. There we go. All right. Let's see. We're just kind of opening up the phone lines. Opening up the lines. So tonight we are going to do some really fun stuff. I want to continue our conversation about relationships. And looking at a relationship through astrology gives us a whole different insight. And I want to talk about that today because a lot of people don't realize how powerful it is to be able to look at relationships astrologically. Who are we? So many times in life, we meet someone and we have that immediate moment where that first impression, we like that first impression in somebody. But as we get to know them, as for all of us, we get more relaxed and more of ourselves come out. And so often, how many times do you hear relationships, after the first 6 months? A lot of people will get married before the first 6 months, and you really don't know the depth of that other person. And so we have so many tragic breakups because we don't understand each other, or we got into a relationship that was completely different than what we expected. Okay, so we have that going on. Also looking at relationships in the last, in the generations, the Pluto and Leo generation, Pluto and Virgo generation, all the way up to where we are now. Every generation is different as how they see the world and how they see relationships. So it's also very important to know what generation somebody was born in. For example, those born in the Pluto and Libra generation, we'll just use them as an example. Those born there, they're born with an idealism of what relationships should be. They just have that in their mind. They want the white picket fence, the 2-car garage, the dog, the cat, the balance, the boy, the girl, this life, leave it to beaver life that we've all seen and idealize. Most of those that were born in the Pluto and Libra generation have parents that went through divorce. They did not see a very good relationship. So they are trying to now create this picture of what they didn't have. And we all do that. We all do that. We try to learn from things we've experienced and maybe not do that. Some of us follow the same patterns over and over and over again, the generational patterns that come through our families. And there's a reason for that as well. And we will talk a little bit about that. So, well, hello, everybody. Everybody is coming in. Very awesome. Hello, hello. Hi, you guys. Thank you for coming in. We're going to do some questions and answers tonight. So as we get going, if you have a question, I will stop and take some questions. And tonight, we're going to take our first caller. Okay, I'm working on kind of creating a show that, everyone can be involved in and everybody can learn from. And I'm going to try it out tonight and see what it's like for someone to call in and ask us their questions. Now, those who call in, I've already have their charts pulled up, the relationship they want to ask a question about and their own. So again, we're only going to take one tonight. And if you guys like this or would like to be a part of this in next week's show, then I'll give you instructions on, go ahead and email me, and I need charts and I need questions, and then I can call. You can call in. So again, let's just see how it goes tonight. So that's coming up in a little bit. All right, everybody's coming in. Hi, you guys. Hello. Hello, hello. So, yeah, we're talking about relationships, We're also talking about the fact that, and again, going back in different generations, there were periods of time where you didn't express your feelings. You weren't allowed to share those things. It was almost like, having this picture of this is what we're supposed to be. And if we're anything less than that, we're just going to put it over here and not talk about it to anyone, and not deal with it. And so many relationships over the years have gone through that type of, it's almost a bondage, really, that you can't be who you are, or that you're trying to live again to a higher ideal. So we both want this big idea, and we're willing to sacrifice everything to get this. And I mean, I think every relationship goes into having a vision together or a dream together, projecting what this could be like. So, that's definitely something that we all do. Also, looking at the fact that, when we look at relationships, some relationships are very Neptunian, okay? There's a theme that plays out in the Neptunian type of relationship, and that is more of the victim-savior role, okay? There's more of a victim-savior role. And often relationships take on that role where I'm the victim and I need someone to save me, or I'm the savior and I'm trying to help this person. It's almost can become a self-righteousness of, I am this person that, everybody needs. Or I'm the only one that knows this person, can help this person. And that can sometimes, more often than not, become off balance and dysfunctional. Neptune, when we look at Neptunian relationships, Neptune is the energy around us that gives us that first glance of somebody. When you're going into a relationship and you meet someone, or, you see someone, that chemistry, like all of a sudden you feel them and they feel you, and everybody has that spark, right, when they meet someone. And with Neptune, it's like we wear the rosy colored glasses. We're listening, we're hearing, and we're believing the best, and they can do no wrong. And that's the beginning. And if we didn't have that, if Neptune didn't create that theme, we would probably never get together. If we, sit around and wait till we can pick somebody apart, that's not how relationships work. There's a miraculous side to them that none of us can control. It's the power, the magic, the moment. Now, when we get into Neptunian relationships, when I look at a chart, I'm looking for specific things. I look at where is Neptune. I also look at, where is Pluto. I look at where's Saturn in these relationships, okay? So a lot of people ask me, basically, oh, I'm a Taurus, do I get along with a Gemini? Yeah, we can play with that idea on the surface level because it works. We can get a surface level of that. But when we get into deeper astrology, we begin to look at the fact that, are we in a relationship with someone that, has the same Saturn, born under the same Saturn cycle? Or are they older and they're born under a different Saturn cycle? We have to understand what that means in our relationships when our partners go through certain cycles. You might have a relationship that somebody, you feel like they've changed so much. What would happen? A lot of times, if we understand astrology, we may be having a very radical transit coming through and affecting the person that we're in a relationship with. And if we understand and we look at the relationship in the big picture, and we are dedicated to that relationship, then we can step back a little bit and go, wow, they're really under a lot of shifts and changes right now. And a lot of times that'll pass. Sometimes it can be unfortunate. Certain people cycle all the time. You have to know that about your partner, where they were born and how it affects today. Again, people born under different Pluto, different Saturn, different Uranus are going to have very different ideas on how they see the world. So you're either a person that loves that and loves that difference and understands it going into it. That way we start getting away from that old pattern of this, I'm a victim and I thought this was the way the relationship was going to be and it turned into this. And, we can take the power back. We can be intelligent. We can be emotionally intelligent. We can, we have tools. We have basic tools, basic ideas that the world has, but in astrology, we can even go a little deeper. So that's some stuff we're going to be talking about. Just taking a look. Hello, you guys. Thank you for joining me tonight. If you are interested in a reading, go to my website. I have several options. CHRYSTAL LYNN Astrology. I have somebody asking about a reading. And I do readings. I specialize in relationship readings, and I'm able to look at it through synastry, through all the different types of ways of looking at a relationship based on your questions. And they can get very in-depth. Now, one thing, I have a little ethical rule for myself, and that is a couple of things. In astrology, I try to be very objective. My job as an astrologer is not to get emotionally involved in the chart. It's not always easy because I can feel it, but to be able to step back and try to stay objective, not put my feelings on those things, unless I'm asked specifically by both parties. Now, when I do a situation like this where we're just talking about relationships and I'm looking at two charts, I'm never going to tell you what to do. I'm never going to tell you to stay, to leave, how to feel. That's not my job. My job is just to present what this relationship could look like. And I try to do it in a way here on the show that's a learning, because we're not going to give names, and I'm not going to psychoanalyze a person that's not here, although I'll have a birthday and I can look at a chart. Based on your questions, I can give you a very general answer. If you want to go more in depth, though, that we do, and it's about a 1 hour reading. So I hope you guys will go book a reading because they're so fun. And they give us a lot of insight. I mean, they can be very life-changing, and I've experienced that so many times. So how are you guys doing? I kind of want to, I don't know if I can do this. I need to bring this closer. You guys are going to see me a little closer here. Yeah, you guys can go on my website and send a request, email me to be on my live show. And like I said, we're going to be doing it with the call-ins. We have a caller tonight. So, all right. Thank you guys for asking questions. How many Aries do I have out there tonight? How many Aries do I have? Where's all my Aries? I'm not seeing my Aries. They're usually first. That's why I had to go there. All right, you guys. I'm looking to see what signs are out there tonight. So put your sign below in the comments. Let me know what we're, there we go. We got some Aries, Mercury and Aries. And yeah, if you have an ascendant, you have a moon in any of the signs, let me know. Just the basics. Now, don't give me all the fourth houses and all that on this thing, because I won't be able to really dive into it. That's in a reading. But give me your basics, ascendant, sun, moon. There we go. Very cool. Gives me an idea of what we're doing. The other type of relationship I want to talk a little bit about is what's called a plutonic relationship. Now, a plutonic relationship has a lot to do with where is Pluto in one chart, where is Pluto in the other, how does it aspect the chart. Again, to find out what theme or what type of relationship, or how do I put that? What type of theme dominates your relationship, I have to be able to look at both charts. And then I can say, this is a very Neptunian, this dominates your relationship, or this is very Plutonic. When we get into Plutonic, this is where we get in, this is where we go psycho in our relationships, okay? And, let's face it, when you have a Plutonic relationship, like, you get lost in it and you're obsessed. I mean, it just happens. It's like something takes over you. And you know, Pluto is all about obsession, jealousy, control. So you have all of these dynamics. Thank you. We have all of these dynamics that can play out. And you think, I don't know, you know, sometimes you can get into a relationship and you're like, this has never happened to me before. I've never been a jealous type of person. Or I've never been like stalking and crazy and wanting to talk to that person day and night. Well, you know what? In your other relationships, you may have not had a platonic relationship, but all of a sudden you have one. And it'll change your life forever. It'll change your life forever. They're the hardest to get over, you know, and they get intense. But many of us, depending on what our chart looks like, who we are at the core, you know, for myself, I'll give an example. I have, you know, the moon in Pisces and the ascendant, and I have to be in love, and I have to be completely dedicated, and that person, I have to feel them all the time, like that kind of connection. It doesn't even have to have words. So I'm fortunate that I have that relationship. But that's something I know about myself. I have to have an emotional relationship. There's going to be some of you out there, maybe we've got some Aquarius or Geminis out there, even Libras, like, you know what? I just want this to be practical. I want to talk about the current affair. I don't want to go too deep. I want to talk about humanity and how we can save the world. But I'm not really interested in all those messy, messy emotions. Okay, so then we can have more of a mercurial type of relationship. So, you know, all of these different themes play out. So when people come to me, that's the first thing I'm looking for is what dominates this relationship. And have you guys out there had platonic relationships? Let's see what we got. I'm sure you have, right? And, you know, again, when I was talking about, you know, Neptune, this savior role, this victim savior role, you know, there's times in life we need someone to come in and just help us out of a mess. And there is a beautiful part of that in a relationship, that somebody reaches down and pulls you out of the muck and mire. And that's necessary. That's not bad. But if the relationship stays there, where one person continually stays in the muck and mire and continually expects to be pulled out of it, that's going to get off balance, right? It's going to get unhealthy. So again, all of these elements, all of these aspects that we're talking about in and of themselves aren't bad. You know, if you are a type of person that, you know, needs to be, you know, you and that partner, and you're very protective of it, and you love it so much, and you love them so much, and they love you so much, and it's very intense, that can be a beautiful thing in the right balance. Because some people, that's how they express their love. We're going to get into the water signs. Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces, that's how they express their love. And they have to have a certain amount of that connection. So is everybody agreeing with me? Like, we've got a Leo rising, Sag sun, Cap moon. Yeah, there you go. So you guys can relate to what I'm saying, right? Is this making sense a little bit? How do you know if you have a platonic relationship? Well, like I said, we know that Scorpio rules Pluto, or, you know, and Pluto, when I look at the chart, I look to see if there's a lot of Scorpio in that chart. What are the aspects of Scorpio? So, for example, if I see a Mars in Scorpio conjunct a Pluto in Scorpio in the other chart, that conjunction, it's like, that's going to be a platonic relationship. Or Mars in the 8th house, you know, Pluto in the 8th house, Pluto in the 12th house of the other person in that sign. Okay, those are some of the elements I look for. You know, people who are born with Venus and Mars in the same sign often have platonic relationships, because when you have Venus and Mars in the same sign, you're a powerhouse. You are very intense. Now, that can change in different signs on what type of intensity comes out in that. But Venus and Mars together, I mean, it's just so powerful. And so that often becomes more obsessive type relationships, okay? So we're looking for different things like that. Neptune, if it's a strong, Venus in Pisces in your partner's 8th house in Pisces, okay, that's going to carry out a very strong dominant effect. So these are just some ways, and these are more ways we can talk about. And if you come for a reading, I'll really go into it. But these are just some things to be thinking about. I want you guys to think about these things. The other thing that I want you guys to think about is, where is Mars in your chart? Where's Mars? Where do you have Mars in your chart? So let's see if we have anybody. Where's Mars? Where do you have Mars? Mars is a part, really the most dominant part of your sexual expression or relational expression, however you want to look at that. We're just being real. The sun in our chart is really more about, who we are when people kind of see us, the head, our goals, our determination, what we're here on this earth to try to experience that life, whether you're a Virgo or a Leo. The sun in your chart is your outer expression, what everybody sees, your mission. But where Mars is in your chart, nobody can see that. And that's how you love. That's where the passion comes from. Also, Venus. Now, some say, Mars for women is more about their career and their ambition. You know what? When you have passion, it can go in so many different directions. So Mars gives us the passion. Venus in our chart really gives us what we love, what we need, kind of the outer part of it. What does it look like? If you are dating a Leo, for example, that Leo is going to want you to, be dressed, ready to go, to look good. You better not have anything on your shoes and get into the car and get the carpet dirty. You know what I mean? That's a Leo, because everything, they put their whole heart and passion into their relationship. But it's a lot about how it appears, because it's ruled by the sun. And so you have to know that. So if you're in a relationship with somebody that has, say, Mars in Leo, and you don't make them feel special, or you don't take the time to, be special, they're going to feel, they're just going to kind of lose their energy. It's kind of like they need that part of their life to be fueled. Let's go out. Let's dress up a little bit. Let's, really make this night special. It doesn't have to be necessarily grandiose, but they want to celebrate. And so if you're in a relationship with a Leo and that's like, I don't even care about that stuff. I don't even want to do birthday cards. I don't even think about Christmas. If that's you, probably shouldn't, unless you're going to give that to them, whether you like it or not, that's not going to be a good relationship. They're going to feel very disappointed if they're not made to feel special. And is that bad? No, it's not bad. It's just what it is. And instead of looking at somebody else's chart and going, oh, I really, my relationship, they have a, moon in Leo, and I'm never dating that again. And, don't. But that's okay. It's not, there's nothing wrong with them. This is who they are. So when you're looking at someone's chart and you're building a relationship, those are the things you want to look at. You want to look at, is this something that works with my energy? And, and accept who they are. No relationship is going to be perfect. Why? Because then we wouldn't even need a relationship. The different dynamics in a chart help bring us, help make us whole. If you have a chart that doesn't have, say, any water in it, and you need a relationship with somebody with some water. It might be foreign to you, but it's a part of your life that you need to learn about. It doesn't come easy for you. It might even be really uncomfortable. But embracing and understanding by looking at your own chart first and going, wow, this is something, I really need to develop. There's so many relationships, and I'm going to go to my caller in just a minute. Maybe actually I'll do that now, and then we're going to get a little bit more into this. Okay, because, oh, I'm getting some messages. You guys, not to be like a total bug, but can you please like and share and get the words out? Because with social media today, it's so weird. If you don't have any activity on your stuff that you're doing, you're just thrown to the wayside. Even if you have great content, it really, social media today, YouTube, Facebook, they all look to see if there's energy around it. So these shows, everybody's loving them. I'm loving them. I want to get them out there. So any way you can like, comment, share with your friends would be really appreciated. So enough on that. Okay. So what I've done here, let me get ready because I'm going to be calling my caller, is I pulled up both charts. Okay. We're not going to be giving names or anything tonight. We're going to call our caller and we're going to see what their question is. So here we go. Let me turn up my volume. Oh, see if you guys can hear.
Hello.
Hello, is this our caller?
This is your caller.
This is CHRYSTAL LYNN. Thank you for putting your question in. I am excited today to get to look at both of your charts and have you tell us a little bit about what's going on.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I'm very grateful.
Is everybody able to hear? Let me just make sure. Is everybody able to hear our caller? Because I have him right by the microphone. Is everybody good? Okay, I think so. We're good. So tell me about what's going on with this relationship. Is it a past relationship, present? Give us a little bit of a.
It's a past relationship. It's my ex-boyfriend. We were together for 5 years, and we haven't been together. What is it? 2019. We haven't been together since. I think our last encounter or our last stab at this relationship was 2015. And
Okay.
we've talked on and off since then. But he's completely cut me out of any communication recently. And I don't understand why. I keep dreaming about him. I keep getting these weird, I'm a Scorpio man. And he's a Scorpio. So, I feel like I know when he's thinking about me,
Yeah, and I think that people don't realize a lot of times that, again, I was talking earlier about plutonic relationships. When I look at these two charts together, this was a very plutonic relationship.
I was gonna talk to you about that because this relationship, the 5 years that we were together, was very obsessive, lots of jealousy, lots of control.
Mm-hmm.
It was actually very toxic, but we did love each other, and we were very, I don't know, it was almost like a past life, like you said, a past life connection or emotional connection is like a soul.
A soul connection. Well, what's.
Yeah, like reuniting.
Well, you guys will probably notice in your lives, and I would like to see if you guys agree, that we often seem to have very patterns in our relationships. We attract a certain person. We keep having the same person come in our lives. And often there's a reason because you're trying to work something out that your soul needs to work out. And, each person you're learning, you're evolving, you're learning the lessons. And often as we grow and in our future relationships, they become more successful because we finally learn the lessons that we're supposed to learn in those other relationships. We can finally apply them. Now,
you know what's so weird is, after I went through my Saturn return, which recently ended, my whole entire life I've been attracted, friends, lovers, all Scorpios.
yeah.
And it's like after the Saturn return, I switched to Taurus.
To what?
The Taurus.
Right. Well, you're opposite. That's
I wanted
interesting.
to see the other side.
Right. Well, interestingly enough, in this relationship that I look at, and I'll just give you a little bit of a few thoughts here based on your question, and that is, this is somebody that is in a different generation than you. So it's an older person. Now, last week I talked about Capricorns. You're a Capricorn rising. So it's going to be not uncommon for you to have relationships with older people. Looking at your chart, you're very old soul. You're very connected. And so your relationships will always take on a strong intensity. Also, having a sun in Leo, there's a lot of there's control there. Scorpio, Capricorn, Leo, those are all very controlling, signs. Yet, control can be turned into something more positive when everybody trusts each other. Then that passion and control turns into living a life together, that instead of controlling each other, you're dreaming up what your dreams are and making them happen. In this relationship here, we have a strong stellium in Sagittarius, Moon, Mercury, Venus in Sagittarius. So here's someone that you're not going to pin down. You're not going to be able to pin down. Sagittarius can become very aloof, kind of like you're saying, they just kind of disappear. Also in this chart, we have a Mars in Pisces. Pisces is famous for what we call in our day and age ghosting. They just disappear. Even if you're standing there talking to them, they can be right across from you and they can literally disappear. They're like you're standing next to me, but you're gone. Where are you? Like they can come and disappear, tune out of a situation and not even say a word. No, they don't give explanations. They don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. They don't want emotional upset. That Pisces are so sensitive that often before they can even talk about something, they need to go be alone for a while and kind of absorb it. And then often they come back. But often the relationships go through such a hard time because during that time, say here, Mars and Pisces, they just disappear and cut you off, and it can be very unfair to the other person.
And what's weird is even with Scorpio and Taurus, which I've recently kind of shifted to, I'm still attracted to Mars and Pisces people.
Well, and I'm looking at your chart. You have Pisces in the third house. Third house is your communication, social media, who you like to talk to, what you identify with. So a lot of your friends and there's your relationships have the Neptunian theme. You the Neptune theme.
I have Neptune on my rising.
Yeah, and you have the North Node there. So in Pisces, you can use, and that's the thing. When you're dealing with relationships, I mean, if it wasn't for the fact that Neptune came down and made us all a little delusional for a minute, right? I mean, that's the best relationships when you just go, I don't know what happened. I just fell right in,
Yeah, that's
love at first sight kind of feeling. The universe, yeah, so you're going to always have those kind of relationships. And you really get a double whammy because you're going to have Plutonic and Neptunian. You've got, when looking at your chart, I see both themes coming out. You're more serious, you're more connected, you are more attached to your relationships. You need to be constantly reassured. Again, nothing wrong with any of those things. It's who we are, and a good relationship is going to give you that. Looking at this other relationship, I see the Sun in Scorpio, Moon, Mercury, Venus in Sag, and Mars in Pisces, and Pluto in Libra. Okay, now again, I'm just doing a short answer here. In a reading, I go much deeper into different things. But just looking at the personality profile, here's somebody that is very intense, but at the same time takes off, disappears, acts aloof, and then comes back like what happened and wants to be all connected again. And, it can be very exhausting. Often, this type of relationship can be very emotionally exhausting. Somebody who can become, we call them emotional vampires, where they just take from you,
Oh yeah, it
but
took
they're
a
not giving
lot
back.
of energy out of me.
Mm-hmm. I definitely see that. So, well, anyway, thank you so much for your call. I'm going to stop there and get back on the show, but I really enjoyed getting to talk to you, and I hope that this
Thank
was
you.
helpful. All right,
Thank
we'll
you so
talk.
much for
Okay,
having me.
you're welcome. Thanks for coming on. Okay, that was fun. Were you guys able to hear that? I hope you were. You could probably at least hear me. We're going to take a few more questions tonight. So let me see what we got here. I'm going to look at YouTube for a minute. Are you guys identifying with what I'm talking about? Is this making sense to you guys? Yep, everybody's saying yes. Well, good. What I'm really trying to really imply is that we have this opportunity right now in life, in this energy that we're in right now, especially with Uranus and Taurus coming through this next 7-year period. It really is going to all be about taking responsibility for ourselves and looking at our relationships differently, looking at them in a way that is very different, because no longer can we blame it on anybody else. No longer can we say, well, you know what? I just didn't think about it. No, we can think about it. We have enough tools to look at what this type of person is, or at least look to see what questions we're going to ask. And so, again, before I go on, if you don't mind, again, just to ask you guys to share and tag a friend. Tag a friend, tag a friend. We will be giving free natal charts, $25 value to those of you that tag a friend. So I'm going to be, if you tag a friend, you need to go to our email and give us your name, say I tagged a friend, and we're going to send you a free natal chart. Okay, so please do that, because we really want to give you that, and we appreciate your taking the time to support the channel. How's that? Okay, so getting back on track here, what we're talking about is, again, being able to really take our own responsibility. And, if you're looking at another relationship to make you okay, if you're looking, you can't do one thing if you don't have that, you're really not in a relationship in a healthy frame of mind. Being in a healthy relationship in this day and age, especially as we move into the age of Aquarius, is going to be much different. It's going to be about connecting, accepting each other, appreciating each other. In my relationship, we're so much alike, but at the same time, I respect, his way of communicating. I communicate completely different. I have Mars and Leo. He has Mars and Scorpio. So I'm like, loud. You can hear me talking like when I'm on the phone outside from like a mile away. I'm loud. I'm always making a big drama about everything. Even doing the dishes, I have to make it a big drama, and everything I do has to be big hands and, expressions, and I'm laughing and funny. Unfortunately, he laughs. But, being married to somebody that has a Mars and Scorpio, very quiet. But when they do talk, it's like you listen, you try to really listen, and needs a lot of time and doesn't like the loud noises and all of those things. So I have to know, the best time to be my Mars and Leo self, and when to like back off, and there's nothing wrong with that. Like, that's a beautiful thing. It's taking two people and it's saying, I appreciate you. I appreciate your difference, what we are together, and the life that we're living, that we're both here to support each other, hopefully to be better people, to want to be better. In astrology, we talk about the shadow side. We talk about, the evolved side. So many times I don't like this sign, I don't like that sign. Well, you may be dealing or have experienced a little bit of that shadowy side. Not everybody in this world has the will, maybe not even the ability, I'm not sure, to really look within themselves. Not everybody's interested in doing that, and they project onto everybody else, or they mirror other people to get their own identity. And if you're in those type of relationships where there's nothing in there, or you're growing, you're taking responsibility, but they're still blaming everyone and won't even look within, that's very unequally yoked. That's very unequally, you're not going to change that person. Right out the gate in our day and age if somebody has the ability to look within. Those are things you should be looking at. Astrology, that's what's so fun about our conversations and our relationships in astrology, is that we talk about these things. We can laugh about ourselves. We can talk about ourselves. I often tell you guys about some of my placements. It's not that, I need to talk about myself, although my Mars and Leo likes to, so we'll admit that. But it's more that I'm trying to give you an example, to give us all example of what it's like to know myself, to explore who I am, to understand that I may be going through something, and this is part of this, shadowy side, or this side that I have not, that just is difficult. We all go through it, okay? Sometimes we experience emotions and thoughts and situations. Obviously, we know in astrology we experience them because there's certain transits that come over us and put a lot of pressure on us. It's like anything. It's like a pimple. If there's no pressure on it, it can just kind of stay dormant. But you put the pressure gets on it, and it needs to come out. It needs to be done. And that's how it is in the sky when planets are, transiting through our charts, and we're feeling certain pressures, and often things that we thought, I can deal with this, just whatever, it's no problem. Suddenly we can't deal with. We have to change it. We have to fix it. Well, you want to thank your lucky stars for that. That we're always finding, we're evolving and finding the place we want to be. So it is important to look into, have people that can look at themselves. We live in a world where we are seeing the results of years and years of dysfunction, family traumas, drug addiction, all of those things. Now we're experiencing in our day and age severe personality disorders, depression, manic, all these different things, because we've lived in a world that never supported who we are. And so if we're the slightest bit off, something's wrong, and something can become wrong. We can become not well in our relationships. You really have to check your mental health. You have to check how you feel. How does this relationship make me feel? Do I feel better when I walk away, or do I feel worse? Am I dreading this conversation, or I'm really looking forward to having this conversation with this person and working this out? Those are questions we need to be asking ourselves now, giving ourselves permission to say, I want to be happy. I'm willing, I'm willing to put everything into that. You can't just want it and sit back and wait for it to happen to you. You have to be a participant. So, we need to be looking at relationships differently. How many times do we have somebody that's just playing the victim role, or constantly, I have to do this for this other person, and they're complaining, but they never leave. They're constantly complaining to everyone, but they keep staying. It may look on the outside that that person is humble and sacrificing, but don't be deceived. When people get into those patterns, they often find their self-worth, and it becomes a certain amount of pride that I've sacrificed all of this. Be careful, because, we have so many different belief systems that we've been taught that often we don't even question them. And we live out these relationships that don't work today. They don't work anymore. They probably didn't work very well then, but it's part of, the collective, us to experience all of this. I mean, we're obviously not coming into this imperfect. So it can be exciting when you're willing to look at yourself and their other person's willing to look at themselves. That has to be separate and first. Then you can come together and begin to have discussions. So, my encouragement tonight is, is to understand your chart first in your relationship. After this conversation tonight, don't go back to the same pattern of thinking how miserable you are or this or that, or you never find anyone, or you always have the same other relationship. That may all be true. But instead of keep rehearsing that tape, go to your own chart first. And if you do not know how to read your chart or you've never read a chart, please go to my email and I will send you your chart with the natal chart report. Those of you that go to my email tonight, we've got special things for you. And it's not that we're going to drive you crazy or bug you or anything, but we want to be able to give all of you guys the first opportunity for our specials and different things that we're doing. So our email list gets in first for everything. But we also want to give you some things. But look at your chart. Take some time and study yourself and even your own inadequacies, even your own dysfunctions. Often when you have, like in a family, say like a mother, a daughter, a granddaughter, that seem to cycle the same pattern, like if you ever watch Dr. Phil and the mother and daughter have done the same thing, they're usually born they usually have the same Saturn return. So if you were 30 when you had a child, and then your daughter's 30 when she has a child, all three of you will be on this same Saturn pattern. Okay, and then you'll look and go, I'm doing the same thing my mom did, and my daughter's now emulating me. And instead of going, oh my gosh, we have no free will, we may be prone to learning certain identical lessons, but understanding them by going into it this way, you can say, well, how can I change this? How can I do something different and not just blindly repeat the same pattern? So, everybody talks about all of this stuff out in the world and patterns and belief systems and personalities, but astrology literally gives us like the inside scoop to who we are and to somebody else. Now, I know as in astrology, we do look at relationships in the other person's chart often to make sure, how this is going to work, but I think it's important to also not judge, not go in with, aha, you know what I mean? Because everything may be similar, but there's so many different dynamics. So you don't want to throw something out because that one little thing, you're focusing on, that might not be something that's that important. Everything else is important. Know what you want in a relationship before you go and be expecting from other people. If you're a Gemini or you're Aquarius or Libra, like I said, you're going to want certain type of relationships. Communication's going to be really, really important to you. You're not going to want to get into a relationship with someone else that doesn't like to communicate at all. That's kind of doomed. It's just not, and it's okay to say that doesn't work for me. If you're already in a relationship like that and you love that person, then learn to get your communication in other ways. You just need communication, or you may have a certain language you have with that person, but it might not just be verbal. Be creative. But we can't just sit and go, I'm not getting what I want. You have to get what you want from inside. Be who you want. And then you can, right? Then you can volley all of these ideas. So, all right, you guys. Well, you guys have all been making such great comments. I like when you guys talk to yourselves, too. Share different things. I'm glad it's making sense. Yeah. Okay, here's one literally explaining me and my ex. Good. And then over here, you guys, on Facebook and Instagram, thank you so much. I'm glad you guys are learning a lot. Yeah, sometimes it's really hard on the soul. You know what? Relationships that's why we talk about wanting our soul mate, or, we're just connected, soul connected. We definitely can be. And the universe is set up that we do have chemistry, that we do feel each other. For years, people never connected to those ideas. They were foreign, they were kind of weird. But as we've been in this transit, Neptune in Pisces, the last 7 years, we've got about 7 more years to go. The themes of today, most relationships are Neptunian themes. We have a strong Neptunian theme going through all relationships. So you can kind of see how that works too. It's kind of a bigger picture. But our relationships today are very connected. It's kind of like, I was just thinking about you and you just called, or, it's that kind of thing. There's a lot of that type of, telepathy and connection. And it's a beautiful thing. It's being opened more and more to us. But at the same time, you don't want to have anybody else be controlling your thoughts. You need to know when and where you want to connect, or be open to that, if that makes sense. So that gets a little deeper, but be ready to put your heart into it, because, if we don't put our heart and passion into something, then, life, if you live life so cautiously, you may not really live life, So I'm not saying jump into anything, because obviously today we found out we don't have to jump, that we can really take some thought into our lives to who we want to connect with. And these relationships can be partners, can be work connections, business connections. This relationships I'm talking about could be mother-daughter, mother-father, brother-sister. Every relationship has a theme. So everything I'm talking about today applies to so many things, okay? Well, you guys, I think we had a really good night. It's getting to be almost up to our hour. If you have any other questions that weren't answered tonight, again, I'm going to keep asking you to email me. Email me if you want to be on the show. Next week, I will be taking a few callers. Let me know if you like the whole caller thing, if that's something that you guys are learning from. I think it's kind of cool. So I'm just developing this show, but really it's based on what you guys want. That's what makes me happy, is when you guys are happy. So, all right, you guys. Well, looks like we're going to be heading off. I'm going to figure out how we're going to shut it all down. Where's my people? I'm just looking through here. Let's see. I don't know. We're going to say goodbye? Oh, we're saying goodbye. What are you guys eating, pizza in there? Subway. All right. Okay.
Are we getting paid for that?
We're getting
Eat
paid.
fresh.
Okay. Oh, and you guys, check this out. Oh, you don't have it on.
Oh, I switched.
He
All right, you hold it.
All right, he's got to show you the Aries shirt. We have our shirt collection on the website. All the signs, they're really fun. We designed them, and they're just fun, and they're great communication or conversation, tools, so to speak. Because everybody starts talking astrology when they see it. This is our Aries shirt. They're just cool. Isn't that cool? That is so cool.
See,
that is so cool. So if you guys want a t-shirt, you can design them yourself. They have all the different colors, all different types, and go check it out.
Yeah,
it would be great.
You can find the store right on the website.
Okay, so the website's below. The the emails through the website, everything's below. All right, you guys, have a great night. See you later.